Check out Paddy Power's new and exclusive Cash Card Plus. Available to use online, at ATMs, or even down the local. Paddy Power, you beauty.
Welcome along to the Racing Post Weekend Postcast. Bruce Millington, Graham Rodway, David Jennings, and from Paddy Power, Frank Hickey. We're the panel, and we are looking ahead to a fabulous weekend of racing. It's the culmination of the glorious Goodwood week. We've got the Stewards Cup and various other difficult races to crown a very difficult punting week. I think we've struggled, haven't we, Graham? It's been tough, hasn't it?
It's been incredibly tough.
It has, but we're going to be confident. We've got two races at Newmarket as well. Frank and David Jennings have got hopefully some gems for Galway, the penultimate day of the Galway Festival. I've got one at Galway as well, lads. I'm going to tell you about the 2018 Epsom Derby winner who's running tomorrow. And then we're going to look at Sunday as well. Again, Galway, it's the final day of the festival. We've got a decent listed race at Chester and a fabulous Group 1 at Deauville, headed by none other than Caravaggio. So we'll crack on with Goodwood, the 3:35. It's the Stewards Cup, a heritage handicap. Always a tricky race, but in recent years, I think something like 10 or 11 this century of the winners have been a single-figure price. So it is gettable. And Frank, I think there's only about one horse who's a single-figure price in your book, isn't there?
Oh, no, we have four.
Oh,
so
four,
projection 6-1. Danzino, Polybius, and Sir Dan Slaughter 8-1. Growl is 10-1. Outback Traveller and Edward Lewis 14-1. Raucous, Eastern Impact 16-1. And we're 20-1 bar.
Now, Graham, there's been a trend develop with postcards. When you're confident, it doesn't always go to plan. But when you say, "Oh, and I don't really fancy anything," and you're Graham Plodway rather than Graham Rodway, you absolutely churn the winners out, don't you? So what Graham have we got today? Confident?
When I walked in, the boys asked me what I fancied. I don't really know, So
good.
maybe that's a good sign.
Okay, well, kick us off with the Stewards Cup. A nice easy start.
Yeah. I'm quite interested how the draw's going to go, because early in the week you wanted to be near this stand-side rail. The winners were flying up the stand-side rail, but then as the week's gone on, it seems to have changed and gone the other way. More towards the middle. And I've always thought in the Stewards Cup over history, you always wanted to be low, sort of towards the middle, far side. And I think that they've been running up this near side rail and the centre so much that it's almost bound to be churned up there now. And of course, we've got the ground's going to be drying out as well.
Have we got a fresh strip on the inner as well, possibly, haven't we?
Yeah, there's definitely one today, I think, isn't there?
Oh, right, okay.
But yeah, I mean, it will be fresher than some that's been used all week anyway. So I'm thinking low numbers. I could be wrong, obviously, it's a complete guess, but I'm going to go with the low numbers. And the one I like is Growl for Richard Fahey, who was not far off top class. I think he finished second in Group 1 company last year or the year before. And he's obviously lost his way, but he's back down to quite a handy mark. And I really like this jockey, Conor Murtagh, claims £7. I think he's excellent value for that, especially on a pretty straightforward ride ground. An old favourite who we know is a very easy ride coming down that downhill track. I think he's got the ability to win it. I'm not massively strong on him, but I like Growl.
OK, Graham likes Growl. DJ, have you had a study up? How are you doing anyway? You last in the week. How long have you been down at Galway?
Well, today is my 5th day, so came down Monday morning, and yeah, the whole week it's a war of attrition really. But Balco the Flow won the place, so I flagged that up a couple of weeks ago. So that's.
Have you been drinking heavily?
No, not really, no, because we're up quite early, in the modern day of audio, visual and stuff like that. You kind of have to not only sound the part, but look the part as well. So, no, not really too much. I had a few points on Tuesday night and then died of death on Wednesday morning, but that was about the height of it.
Is it as busy and raucous and mad as ever, generally?
Yeah, and it gets younger. I know obviously I'm getting older, and every year I go back, I'm a year older, but the crowd actually gets younger, and like it's just remarkable. Like it seems to be between the ages of 15 and 20. It seems to be like a hotbed for that age group. It's just like last night I went out for dinner and it was just like going to a teenage disco.
Sounds good. Okay. Have you got the winner of the Stewards Cup for us?
Yeah, just on the draw front. I went through the draw there. Like in the last 5 years, Stall 4 has won it twice, and Stall 1, Magical Memory, was drawn in Stall 1, and then 2013 Rex Imperator won from Stall 26, and Intrinsic was in Stall 22. So it's hard to make head or tail of it, really. I suppose 3 of the last 5 winners have been drawn 4 or less, is the best statistical analysis on it. I'd be willing to take 1 high and 1 low. like, it's very, very boring. But I think Projection is potentially the best horse in the race. Was so unlucky at Ascot, like, just travel like a dream, and it was one of them weeks where I was just caught on the wrong side, and it poked your eye out the whole way through that race, and it's gone up £2 for that, which I think is fairly reasonable, because it looked as though there was more improvement in the locker. Strawn and Style 27. Again, we don't know if that's a positive or a negative, but the value has gone, like 6 to 1 is probably a ridiculous price, but it's that kind of age-old question, it's poor value, but it's the most likely winner, so it's hard to kind of sum it up. But I think Projection is the most likely winner, and I'd just be willing to chance Brian the Snail, because it's blinkered for the first time, and if you go back to when it won at Catterick, it was on really soft ground that day, won by 7 lengths when it was a novice stakes back last October, and like the wheels have well and truly come off since, but blinkers on for the first time. It's off 101. I would have thought earlier on in its career when it won its first 3 starts it was going to be better than that. Strong is Style 2, so it could be well drawn, and Tony Hamilton takes the ride. I think it's about 25 to 1. It could go well at a big price.
Okay, Projection and Brian the Snail for David. Who for you, Frank Hickey?
Would you believe I had shortlisted 2, both big prices, both drawn low in 2 and 3. Brian the Snail being one of them, Dave, so maybe we'll bury this between the two of us.
That's music to my ears, Frank.
Yeah, no, he was one. Like, look, first 3 runs, he was very impressive, and you would have thought this is definitely a group horse in the making. Went to York, disappointing in the listed race, disappointing in the Sandy Lane, disappointing in the handicap debut last time. But the blinkers go on, and I'm pretty sure I was listening to the clerk of the course this morning at Goodwood, and he was just saying that the far side might just be a touch quicker, and that there's the last half furlong is shaded on the stand side rail, so that it might dry out a bit slower. So I think you definitely want to be drawn low. So that's why I'm concentrating on the low numbers. So Brian the Snail is one for me at 25 to 1. And the other one is a horse called Shanghai Glory. He's drawn 3. He made his reappearance this year in the Wokium on lightning fast ground, which would have been all against him. But you only go back to his previous run, his last run last year, when he hacked up really in a listed race at the Curragh. When the figures would have said he hadn't much of a chance. He was only rated 94 going into that listed race. He's running off, he ran off 104 in the Wokium. He's dropped to 101. And like, if you could take that listed form as kind of gospel, I think this is just one soft ground. His record on 6 furlongs with good soft ground is very good. He's like 1 or 2nd nearly every time. At bar, I think he 4 Doncaster, that was over 7. So yeah, I think this got a massive chance, 25 to 1.
Okay.
We'll be back in as soon as I finish the podcast.
Brilliant stuff. And don't forget, Paddy Power offering 6 places either on their own products or on the Racing Post app. So that gives you a decent chance if you're having a tickle on the Stewards Cup. Let's do the rest of the Goodwood ITV action in chronological order. The 150 is the Stewards Sprint, which is the consolation race, and which I guess will have an effect on the main race, G-Rod, by giving everyone a clue on the draw, won't it? Who's going to win this?
Yeah, the problem was the 2 that I liked were drawn high, so I kind of put a line through them. I will mention, though, just in case it does end up being high, they were Tommy G and Manshood. But like Frank has already said, I want to be on the lower side. I certainly want to be in the far side group, and I'm going to go with Pettock side, who I tipped at the track in the column on Tuesday, and I mean it was a hugely unlucky loser. One of the typical Goodwood bad luck stories. Just got caught at the back with absolutely nowhere to go. Came on the hand and tails, absolutely flying. That was over 5. That's a 3-time winner over course and distance. The extra furlong, 6 furlongs, really will suit it. You've got Hector Crouch, who's already had a big winner this week.
100 to 1 winner.
Yeah,
aye.
Claiming £3. If he can time it right on Pettock's side, he's going to need luck again, obviously, because it's that sort of horse. He loves this track and will handle any ground. I think Pettock's side can make up for an unlucky defeat the other day.
Dave, who do you fancy?
He's drawn Stall 14, though. It's not that low.
No,
I was expecting to go for something between 1 and 3
he's certainly lower than the other fancied runners. A lot of the fancied runners are in high numbers.
Yeah, they are. And one I like, unfortunately, I was disgusted when I saw the draw, was 6 strings from the Richard Fahey stable. Drawn in Stall 20, which obviously could be a nightmare, but this is a sprinter to follow. I'm convinced of it. I thought it was a really, really good run in that Scottish Stewards Cup at Hamilton. If you watch that race, it was really strange, because at Hamilton there's usually a golden highway up the near side. But on this occasion, it seemed to be a little bit different in that Scottish Stewards Cup, and they all panned out the whole way across the track. And Paul Hannigan was caught completely on the far side. He finished third. He was beaten 2 lengths by classic seniority, but he hasn't gone up for it, which I think is really strange. He was second to Parfait at Newmarket earlier on in the season on his first start. And that form has obviously been frank since. And you know what? I think he's the one horse in the race, when you go through the whole race, he's the one potential improver that we haven't seen the best of yet. There's some 14-1 out there. He should cope with the ground, and I expect him to be smacked there at the end.
You fancy 6 strings. Frank, by the way, before we get your fancy, big up to you for Quench Dolly, who's a horse that you tipped up on the postcast about 3 months ago. And I know, looking on Twitter, plenty of people stuck her in the tracker as a consequence of that. I did as well, and it all came good, didn't it? So well done there, Frank. Who are we going to back to win the 150 at Goodwood tomorrow?
Yeah, again, I was kind of looking at the low draw ones. There was one drawn at 10. It's probably at the limit of the draw, but Rashik of Tim Easterby, he's run really well at York twice this year on ground, good to soft ground. And I suppose after Epsom, Goodwood is the second fastest track for sprinters, and York is probably the third. So it's kind of encouraging that his 2 best runs have been there on a really speedy track with Cut. Tim Easterby's in flying form. He's 13 from 62 runners in the past 2 weeks. He's 21%, which would be excellent form. If you go to the 2 runs Rashik was second in, he was second to Duke of Friends, beating a neck. Duke of Friends got up late, and he was only beaten the last day, maybe a length. Who was ahead of him? Sorry, I don't know.
Flying Pursuit.
Flying Pursuit and Al Kewa, is it? Or Al
That's it.
He's only gone up a couple of pounds for that. The draws, I think he'll get away with the draw. As I said, most of the fancy ones are drawn high. He's 14-1. And we're 5 places on the race as well, so I think it's a bit of an each way steal.
Okay, 225. It's the Qatar Summer Handicap. Kick us off again, Graham. Oh no, we'll have a show of betting first. A wetter appetite. Go on, Frank. How do you bet on the 225?
Sharoa is 4-1, Mainstream 6-1, Platitude 7-1, Blakeney Point, Get Back in Paris 8-1, Soldier in Action, Saigon City 9-1, and we're 12-1 bar.
Go on then, G-Rod. On you go, son.
Fascinating race. A bunch of old favourites, one of them being Mainstream.
How many of these would be in your tracker?
There's not many in there, but there's loads that will have been in there at some point that have now been disappeared. Mainstream obviously being one of them, represents one of the hottest lines of the form all season when he was third behind Frontiersman and Top Tug in a handicap at Newmarket. But he has an awful problem trying to win. When he comes to win, his head seems to go up in the air now. I mean, he has got the ability to run away with this race if he wants to. If anyone can make him do it, it's going to be Ryan, and it's Stevie Donoghue struggled last time. Ryan taking over. I can't back him though. Though interesting runner, and the boys might know a bit more about him than I do. Maybe is Felix Mendelssohn for Joseph O'Brien, who used to be with David Simcock. Always had loads of ability, never fulfilled his potential. Come back from a long layoff for Joseph O'Brien and a massively eye-catching first run over 1.5 miles, staying on really strongly, looking like he's in desperate need of 1 mile and 6, and he gets that here. I'm sure I remember him running well at the course at some point for Simcock in his early in his career as well. So I'm going to take a chance on Felix Mendelssohn, but there's loads in there that I like. I mean, Soldier in Action could run well. Platitude can't top.
Okay, jolly good. David, who do you like here?
Yeah, that Felix Mendelssohn was supposed to run at Killarney a couple of weeks ago, and it was taken out. It was actually bizarrely supposed to run in the Void race. That was won by Stars Over the Sea. So it was taken out that night. I can't remember. I think it was because of ground. I think it probably needs a little bit of cut in the ground. And it's quite interesting. Graham alluded to the fact that he ran well at Goodwood. He did. He was fourth in a listed race. He wasn't beaten that far by A-Rad in a decent enough listed race. I think it was back 2 summers ago, I think. But is interesting, certainly is interesting. This Mainstream is an absolutely horrible yak. He is horrible. He reminds me of Aidan McGeady, who used to play for Ireland. He was a winger.
The one who looks like Phil Tufnell.
Yeah, exactly. That's him, yeah. One of these. This is the
he does still play.
He does still play. He could be still with Everton. He could be on loan to somebody.
Oh no, he's with Preston, wasn't he? Or he went to Sunderland now from Preston.
Did he go to Sunderland? Well, I'll describe what I mean, right? As in, he looks brilliant, right? Every time he gets the ball, you think he's going to do something, and he just threatens, and you're going to go, oh my God, he's going to be like the next big thing. Like every time he played for Ireland, he threatened to deliver so often, but he never did. He never, ever did. And this Mainstream, you say Stevie Donoghue struggled with him last time. He gave Stevie Donoghue no help whatsoever. It was absolutely horrifying, the last furlong of that race. He threw his head up in the air. He's a horrible yoke. He's by far the best horse in the race, and maybe Ryan will get him home, but he's a horrible watch, and he's a horrible horse, and I really hope he doesn't win. Anyway, that's mainstream, and I'm completely fallen out of love with him. There was venom in my voice there.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, we have the RSPCA on you.
The one I'm willing to give a chance to here, and Bruce, you'll love me for this.
Aye, Calm Top.
Yeah.
It's going to be a massive day for King Rafe tomorrow. He's going to have loads of winners. We're going to come on to one at Newmarket quite soon. But go on, why will Calm Top win this, DJ?
What a legend he is. Seems like a lovely guy. I think he's crying out for a step up and trip, Bruce. I really do. I don't think it ran that badly in Haydock. I tipped it up last time in Haydock at a big price as well. And the race didn't go to plan at all. Dylan Mouth won it. And just kind of was left with a bit too much to do that day by Pat Cobbs. And the race kind of got away from him. It's funny at Haydock on quick ground. I think it's an easy enough track to get. Like I think he's more of a stayer. That 1 mile 4 that day was just too much for him. The run beforehand at Epsom was far more his cup of tea when he was so unlucky behind Soldier in Action. I still think he's quite well handicapped. If you go back to his form, like he was beaten just over 3 lengths in the King Edward Stakes by across the stars last year. He's a proper horse, and maybe he's just crying out for a trip. He gets that here, and unlike Mainstream, he bloody wants to win races.
Okay, I thought you might be flagging after a week at Galway, but Jesus Christ, you can still talk a glass eye to sleep. Can't you? Bloody hell! All right. Frank, who do you like?
I think I have the winner, but
aye.
Maybe I'm wrong. Saigon City, Declan Carroll hasn't run since Newmarket in May when it encountered soft ground over 1 mile 6. Second that day was Oriental Fox.
I was talking to James Pyman about Saigon City. This is the Cesarewicz winner, isn't it? It will be.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be shocked.
And the Ebor.
Yes. Yeah.
This is gets soft ground, and it's got a massive chance. Like, it handles fast ground, but it handles soft ground better than most. It beat Oriental Fox. Like, the day in Newmarket, it looked like it was under pressure about 3 furlongs out, and it just took off in the last furlong and a half. Now, we all know Oriental Fox probably wants better ground, and he went on and won the Creed Alexandra again at Royal Ascot. He's only gone up £5 for that. And if you go back and look at it, when he was Luke Commandy, he was running over a mile. He ran over 10 furlongs the odd time. But when he switched to Declan Carroll, he'd one spin on his comeback over 2 miles. And since then, he won at York, was 5th in Northumberland Plate, beaten 4 lengths, was 3rd at Ascot, beaten a length, was 2nd at Doncaster. This is the run you need to look at. Over 1.5 miles, which would be too short. He was 2nd to Chemical Charge, who was 3rd in Hardwick. 3rd was Muntaha, who won the John Porter in the next start. 4th that day was Frontiersman, who threw away a Princess of Wales and the Coronation Cup. But this fella's running off 98. Now, if you can take that form literally, this is a good thing.
Yeah.
And it's 12-1 in places. I will be, again, it's 10-1 best, we're 9-1. If I get to price this, it won't be 9-1.
Oh, excellent stuff.
My mind there, Bruce.
Yeah, that's very persuasive.
I fancy Saigon City.
Yeah, I know. But then again, DJ, very dangerous to desert King Rafe. Okay, the other race on the box at Goodwood is the 3 o'clock Qatar Gordon Stakes, a Group 3. This is easier, isn't it? Only 5 runners. How'd you bet, Frank?
Crystal Ocean is our favourite at 5-4. Khalidi's 9-4. Mount Moria 5-1. Across Dubai 15-2. And Jake's Hill is 12-1.
DJ, you can go first as long as you're very concise. Who's going to win this and why?
This will be so short and sweet, Bruce. Crystal Ocean, I think, is a good thing. I don't think the ground will be a problem. I think he's going to end up being a very, very good horse. He's rated 112. Khalidi is rated £2 higher. I think that's a false 114 that Khalidi has. I think Crystal Ocean could be a star one day, and I'm hoping the start of that process will be in the 3 o'clock at Goodwood.
Well done. Graham?
Very straightforward, yep. Crystal Ocean. Talking about James Palmer, he ran out some stats last week for us in his column, Glorious Goodwood, and 35% strike rate for St Michael Stout in listed Group 3 races for 3-year-olds, and the big point in it was that he usually runs a Group 1 horse in the Gordon Stakes. The likes of Ulysses, obviously, who he won it with, and he probably runs another one here, Crystal Ocean. Righty-ho, Frank, what do you think?
I think he is the best horse in the race. Michael Stout's a tremendous record. I think he's won 4 of the last 9 runnings of it. But I would just think if the ground remains tacky, I'd be willing to give this Mount Moria a go at about 5 or 6 to 1. He won well at Newbury on the handicap debut off 81. You says tons more needed, but he went to Ascot up £12 and he absolutely destroyed them. Like, it was, you're there looking, this is a a Group 2 horse probably in the making. The way he did it that day, he probably will get the soft ground he wants. And if there's one to put it up to Crystal Ocean, he's the one. And I'll definitely have a bet on him, just in case.
Great. When Frank Hickey tips a King Rafe Beast, there is no stopping me, I tell you. I spoke to Adam Waterworth, the very excellent chief at Goodwood, on Wednesday. Honestly, guys, I mean, if you know what it's like being in Ireland, heavy rain, but you have never seen anything like Goodwood on Wednesday. It was unbelievable. I've never... If you went outside, if you just tried to walk from one stand to the other, it might only be 20 yards. You might as well jumped in a swimming pool. Honestly, it was phenomenal. And he said, all for the rest of the week, you're going to get that really sort of cloying, tacky ground, that drying, heavy ground, which is actually the hardest to get through. So I think it'll take some getting there. Now then, quickly, chaps, anything else on the Goodwood card? After the 4 televised races, we're scrambling around after a difficult week to get out of trouble. Is there anything you like, Graham?
Yeah, there's a couple. 4:45 battered for William Haggis. It was really well fancied at York last time. I don't think it run up to form. It's well regarded by the trainer. I think you'll see a lot better horse in that race at 4:45. And then the last, now mate, Joe Chuit.
Yeah.
Him? Yeah, Joe Chuit.
He hasn't learned, has he, DJ? What is it? Shoot. Shoot.
Well,
Yeah, Joe Shoot.
Joe Chuit's favourite best horse is running in the 5:20. It's called Surrey Hope. Was very impressive when at Sandown 2 runs ago.
He's a non-runner, Graham.
Oh,
He's
he
a
doesn't
non-runner.
run. Oh,
Yeah.
well, he doesn't run then.
He's got another one in this race.
Well,
It was worth it just to hear you pronounce. What's his name again?
Joe Chuit.
That's it. DJ, anything else at Goodwood?
Yeah, that's funny. He probably took it out because he didn't want to hear you butchering his name on the postcast, I'd say. I think I'm completely taking Graham on in the 4:45. I think Tamul is in a different league to these. And the key thing here is the ground. It won on soft ground at Newmarket on its debut last year. Best performance this year was in Newmarket on good soft ground as well. The ground is the key to Tamul. He was disappointed in the Jersey Stakes, but this is a completely different kettle of fish. He'll completely outclass these, I think.
Okay, and Frank, anything else for you?
We're willing to give a chance to Storm Ahead in the 5:20. He was only beaten 2 lengths in the Spring Mile. He's actually dropped 4 pounds since then. Slightly disappointing the last twice, but when sent off Fav. But he gets a soft ground here. He was a very good winner at Salisbury last year in soft ground, beating Sinfonietta. I think he's only about 6 pounds higher here. And with Tyler Saunders claiming 7, I think he can go well at probably like around 10-1.
Okay, let's talk about the next Rafe Beckett winner at Newmarket in just a mo.
Paddy Power are offering money back as a free bet if the horse you back finishes 2nd, 3rd or 4th to the SP favourite in 2 races today and every day this month. Max £25 per race. T&Cs apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
So the 205 at Newmarket on the July course is the British Stallion Studs EBF Chalice Stakes. It's a listed race. And Frank, you only really need to read out the favourite, but you better give people a little bit of a fuller show.
Isabel de Urbina is 4-1 favourite. To Eternity 5-1. Sing Your Song and Pleasant Surprise 7-1. Apthea 8-1. You're Kidding and Ebbsbourne 10-1 and we're 12-1 bar.
Who'd you fancy, G-Rod?
Yeah, I think the favourite win,
Aye,
Isabel de Urbina. Yeah, it was a cracking run last time out
Brilliant,
of the
wasn't
track. Yeah, I mean, behind a lightly raced improver from Luca Kumani's yard. I mean, that could be absolutely anything. And previously contested the Oaks, had very little chance in that. Ran well on the Rowley Mile, previous start in the Pretty Polly. I think the form's really good. Obviously gets the 3-year-old weight allowance. The 3-year-olds have been doing well, haven't they? Particularly the 3-year-old fillies. And John Egan's quite an interesting booking for Rafe. I did have a quick look at his stats, and he doesn't ride too many for him, although he hasn't ridden any winners for him.
Okay, well, don't
I think
worry
he's
about
had 4 rides, 1 2nd and 2/3 or something like that.
Right,
I could be wrong, but
okay.
I think that's right.
All right. DJ, who'd you fancy here?
I've narrowed down to 2, Bruce. Isabel de Urbina and Pleasant Surprise, the 2 right down the foot of the handicap here, or foot of the names and numbers, I suppose you could say. I think Pleasant Surprise is a big chance. An improving Luca Kamani, 3-year-old, a filly with a big future, and I thought that was a really good win at Doncaster last time. Was value for more than the 1 winning margin. Always looked like doing enough there, but this Isabel de Urbina, it's run behind Horseplay at Newmarket in May. That was really, really eye-catching in the Pretty Polly. I thought that day, I was like, God, this could be a little bit of a star. And then the last day, to produce that performance after running in the Oaks, I thought it was a terrific display. I really did. And I'd imagine, typical race fashion, I'd say a softly approach. And I think you're only going to see the best of Isabel D'Urbina from now till the end of the season. I think she'll win, Bruce.
Jolly good. I love this. Frank, who do you like?
I'd narrow down to 2 as well. And the same 2 as David, Isabel D'Urbina, and a pleasant surprise. But I fear that Isabel D'Urbina might get outdone by Luca Kamani, improver here.
For the second race running, that'd be tough going,
yeah.
wouldn't it?
Newbury, a pleasant surprise, a little bit of ground to make up with Ebbsbourne on their Newbury listed run. But she tried to make all that day, and her improvement seemed to come with being held up. But Doncaster stepped up to 1.5 miles. She travelled really strongly and put the race to bed handy enough. She has a bit to find on the figures, but look, Luke Kamani's a genius with this type of horse, and I think 7 to 1's a fair each way price.
Righty-ho, the other ITV race at Newmarket is the 240. It's the British EBF Fillies Nursery Handicap, and it's a wide open contest. Frank, how do Paddy Power bet?
Neola is 7 to 2, Queen Pen 4 to 1, First Drive 5 to 1, Paramount Love is 7 to 1, Tig Tog 8 to 1, along with 1 Foot in Paradise, and we are 10 to 1 bar.
David Jennings, you can go first.
I think I actually fancy the outsider, the whole field here, Bruce, to be honest. Elysium Dream, I think it's 14s or 16s, we're not quite sure. You can completely put a line through its run the last time behind Tangled Web at Newmarket, because it got involved and was always in the wrong position and got caught trapped out wide, and then got a little bit buffeted about a bit and never really got into it. But I think its form prior to that stands up really well, so it does, because it was 5th in the Chesham behind September, Nialetti, Massar. Like, that form is absolutely cracking form in the context of a nursery. If you forget the run the last day, it would be favourite here. And I'm willing to forgive the most recent run, because I don't think it was a true running. Off 85, still could be well handicapped, and I think it's a ridiculous price. OK,
David likes Elysium Dream. G-Rod, who do you like?
I think this is very straightforward race. I don't think this is open at all. I think the best bet of the whole day runs here. It's First Drive for Michael Bell.
And the Queen.
And the Queen.
So the Queen will like us again after David absolutely lambasted poor old Mainstream.
Josie Gordon as well, an interesting booking. Now, before this one ran at Yarmouth, I know someone who was down the yard that day, and they told me that this would go very, very close to winning. And it did. I think it lost out by a half length or a short head or something, a second. It was a cracking run. And I know that Michael Bell's always come on massively for a run. So, of course, next time out at Kempton, I absolutely loaded up on it. I thought, well, the words were that this was one of his better 2-year-olds. This will definitely come on for the run and win at Kempton. So I smashed it, went off 4 to 5, and it got the run of the race in front. And I just do not know what happened in the straight. It just stopped. It just almost. I mean, it looked like it was going to win by a mile, and then when he pressed the button, there was nothing there. It just stopped as if completely cut out. Now, obviously, that wasn't the horse's true form. Bounced right back last time at Nottingham. Stayed on really strongly to get up near the line, and
Did you back him?
No, of course, missed him. But near the line, ducked away to the left. Now, that's my only concern, is the fact that he cut out at Kempton.
Her, anyway, it's a filly's.
Sorry.
That's my fault.
She cut out at Kempton, and she hung badly left towards the finish. But she's got loads of ability, this horse. And she's running off here, 8 stone 5 in a nursery. I mean, if she doesn't win this, I'll be so disappointed.
Really? You're going to be smashing her up? Yeah?
I will, but if she loses, she's going to turn into one of those horses that I always get wrong, isn't she? You know, having missed her at odds on and then missed her last time.
OK. Frank, are you seeing this race nice and clearly?
Yeah, I think I do, but the lads put me off a small bit. I know I put it up in the Super Sprint at Newbury, where 5 was probably a bit on the sharp side for her, but 1 Foot in Paradise, I thought a mark of 73 looked very lenient. She ran well at Salisbury the time before, beaten to quarter length by VJ, went on and won again ahead of the time after. And even if you go to the Yarmouth race before that, on fast ground, which she probably first cut, she wasn't too far behind Viscount Loftus and 1 Minute, who were both 1 Minute went to York and won there a couple of weeks ago. So that's quite decent form. And she's running off 73. She's running right down the bottom. Luke Morris rides, and this is about 10 to 1 again, and I think it's worth an each way bet.
Stable's in form. It had a 50 to 1 winner at Yarmouth last week, didn't it?
Yeah, it's had
as a joke.
had another winner as well in Nottingham as well last week. So.
Okie dokes, right. Let's look at Galway then. It's day. What is it? Day 6 of 7, DJ, isn't it?
Yeah.
It sounded like you're wilting there, mate.
Yeah, I'm. Yeah, I'm getting it's stretching my stamina at this stage.
I bet it is. Are you down all week?
Yeah, see, what happens is, with race scores, what happens is there's usually a kind of a handover substitution. Most people, half come for the first 4 days, and then the other half come for the last 3. So actually, tonight, Friday night, at Galway, they're expecting the crowd to be bigger than Ladies' Day, because it's a transition. Like 10 years ago, there might have only been maybe 5,000 at this meeting, maybe 10 at the most. Now there's going to be about over 30,000 there tonight, perhaps.
Crumbs.
So it's a remarkable kind of change.
Okie doke. Well, let's look at the Galway Cup. Before you give your tips, I just do need to tell you that, like I say, the 2018 Derby winner runs on this card. Can you name him, DJ?
Oh, absolutely. What price? Would you give me 1 to 3 that I'm able to name it?
Well, I backed him at 40s for the Derby this morning. So does that narrow it down? He's named after an Italian sculptor called Amedeo Modigliani. My pronunciation is better than yours. He really does interest me. I thought that debut run was really eye-catching at the Curragh behind Gustav Klimt, and that went straight into the tracker, and I've got high hopes for this horse. But anyway, I know next to nothing about Irish racing. You two know all about it. So, very concisely, David, you go first. Tell us who's going to win at Galway on Saturday.
Yeah, well, your horse is going to be possibly one of the shortest priced favourites ever in the history of Galway, I'd say. I have no idea what price. It hasn't been priced up yet, but I would say, off the top of my head, it could potentially be 2 to 9. That's my guess. And I think it'll win convincingly. That debut run, it was Porrick Beggy rode it that day, and it was almost like Wings of Eagles in the Derby. It absolutely rocketed home, and you're kind of going, where the hell was it? Like, why was it not closer? But it's typical Aidan O'Brien improver, and I think that's a nice betting clip that you have at the moment. As regards the best bet on the card, I really like one in the 450, the Ardlan Hotel handicap, and it's called Rosinbach, drawn in stall 1 for John Murphy, who hit the crossbar the other night. He'd won just beaten. This one at Killarney last year. It was similar enough ground. It was yielding in the going description. Colin Keane rode it off a mark of 65, won really impressively. And I think John is aiming this horse at it's the filly, but he's aiming her at these kind of big festivals. And I think this has been the aim for quite a while. It was third of 16 to Dashing at Goran last time. Flew home. Definitely, like Graham, this was one that you had to put in the horse tracker after it ran, and I was just praying for a good draw. So it's drawn in stall 1, so that certainly is a huge chance of that.
That's Roisin Box, number 10 in the 450. It's just that the line's not great there, DJ, so I didn't want people to miss your pearls of wisdom. Anything else?
Yeah, and our colleague in the Racing Post, Paul Byrne, who you know quite well, owns a horse that runs in the 305, the big race of the day. It's a €100,000 handicap hurdle, and it's called the Crafty Butcher, who has been infuriating for the owner's perspective, because it's just failing narrowly to get into races like the Galway Plate, the Irish Grand National, but it's seriously well handicapped, both over fences and over hurdles. It's only raced 128 over hurdles, £7 higher over fences. Soft ground is what it needs, and it gets that. And the fact that Ruby Walsh is getting down to 10 stone 3 and is deserting the likes of Ozzie Rains and Cap Dabois speaks volumes to me. I think the Crafty Butcher is really well handicapped, and I think he'll win for Paul. And one other horse that I think will win in the nursery at 4:15, I think Sebastiano Ricci might have got in lightly here off a mark of 78. Quite well exposed, but I think 7 furlongs around Galway on soft ground has again drawn stall 1, which is obviously ideal. I think Sebastiano Ricci is really interesting in that 4:15.
That bastard Byrne hasn't told me anything about the Crafty Butcher, so if that wins without him getting in touch, there will be all sorts of problems. Frank, who'd you like at Galway?
The 2:30, a horse called Big Ben ran twice in the flat for Aidan O'Brien. It was third on debut behind Stellar Mass, beaten 4 lengths. Not bad. Won a maiden at the Curragh, then over 10 furlongs. Came back in Fairy House in November and was second to Land of Hope and Glory on his hurdles debut. He actually went off favourite that day. He's been put away since, and he's in a maiden hurdle here for Joseph O'Brien is absolutely flying. I think he'll take an unbelievable amount of beating. In the 305, I did down to 2, and I'd probably back the 2 of them each way. One each way and one
Not
win
after
only.
Rain, surely.
Definitely after Rain. Steps up to 2 miles, 6.5.
We've been waiting 2 years for this thing.
Oh, well, come here. We're going to get paid at some stage. Now, we mightn't get back the money we've lost, but we'll get paid at some stage. But I think at Punchtown, he was very eye-catching. He ran over 2.5 miles, stayed on really strongly, beaten just over 2 lengths by Open Eagle. Dropped to 2 miles at Killarney. probably against, but he steps back up to 6.5 here. I think it could be the make of him, but I agree with David. The Crafty Butcher looks absolutely chucked in, and it'll only be an each way bet on After Rain, because I think the Crafty Butcher taking the right amount of beating. In the last race, this is an absolute certainty. True
worth waiting for there.
True Self of Willie Mullins. She made her debut for Don Cantlon in a bumper at Warwick, and she was absolutely off the boards. She got to the front and she just ran around all over the place. She did everything wrong. Got nabbed in the line by a horse of Brian Edson called Shearling. Shearling ran a listed bumper, I think, in Aintree, won 2 or 3 bumpers. She won a maiden on the flat at Chester. I think she might have even finished 3rd or 4th in a listed race on the flat. And she's really good, but this horse has moved to Willie Mullins, and if you can get anything bigger and even money, get everything you have in it.
True Self in the 5.55.
I have one more, the 5.25. The draw isn't brilliant, but Tony Martin normally gets a winner at Galway, and Tudor City hasn't run the flat since hacking up a Limerick off a mark of 61. Now, I got £12 that day, but even off 73, if you look at some of its best hurdle runs, you could say it's got a good enough chance of winning off 73. He's won at the festival before in 2015. Bar the draw, I'd be very confident that he'll be involved. So he could be an each way price. He could be 6, maybe 7, 8 to 1.
Have you been down there this week, Frank?
I was down there Tuesday. I was involved in a horse that was running Tuesday, but unfortunately didn't run too well.
Oh, well.
We had a good all night. Good, struggling all right Wednesday on the drive home.
Jeez, I fancy it, don't you, G?
I'd love to go.
We've got to go, haven't we?
It's very good, yeah.
It always falls on such a bad week for us.
I know, they've got
Goodwood
to split Goodwood and Galway up. They've got to do something about it. It will never happen because neither course cares enough about it. But for the rest of us, it's absolutely preposterous that they're both the same. OK, let's do the naps.
This will not be beaten.
Who do you like? Graham Rodway.
First drive, 240 Newmarket.
David Jennings.
Tamul, 4.45 Goodwood.
And Frank Hickey.
5.55 Galway, the biggest certainty of all time, True Self.
Oh, you lot sound so confident. Fantastic. Right, competition time every week. We give listeners and viewers the chance to win a free £25 or €25 bet, courtesy of our sponsors, Paddy Power. On Monday, Maddie asked who is favourite for the Arc with Paddy Power. The answer is Enable, and the winning entry was sent in by Mark Power. Stuart's inquiry there. Must be a relative of the company, but anyway, I presume not. Well done, Mark. Your free bet will be credited to your Paddy Power account, and Maddie will be back on Monday during the review postcast with another chance to win a free bet.
Paddy Power are offering money back as a free bet if the horse you back finishes 2nd, 3rd or 4th to the SP favourite in 2 races today and every day this month. Max £25 per race. T&Cs apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Hi there, it's Bruce Millington, Graham Rodway, David Jennings and Paddy Power's Frank Hickey. We're looking ahead to some really good action on Sunday when I think it's fair to say there's something for everyone. We've got the final day of the Galway Festival. There's a really good listed race at Chester and it's the Group 1 Prix Maurice de Geest featuring Caravaggio over in Deauville. They're also racing at Market Raisins. So we'll get stuck into the best bets and we will start with the Galway Festival, Day 7, David Jennings running out of petrol now. He's getting on a bit and it's a long old week over in the west of Ireland, but hopefully he's still got some decent winners for us. Let's start by looking at the 3.55, the Irish Stallion Farms EBF Ahonora handicap. It's a real tricky one, this. I don't think we've got prices yet, Frank, have we?
We don't yet.
Not yet. OK, well, give us the winner then, DJ.
Well, I can tell you what will be favoured anyway, because Riven Light will be favoured after its win the other night in the Quinn BMW Mile. But it's down another furlong, the 7 furlongs, which is, I don't blame Willie for obviously taking his chance under a £7 penalty. But drawn 15 over a furlong shorter, God, it's going to be hard for Riven Light, I think. Like, we thought this was a stayer. And the one I like, and you might laugh, but I think he could win again, is Barrowease, because it's drawn and stalled. It's drawn and stalled 4 this time, and it's been so unlucky. Like, for a horse, it's quite remarkable, really. Maybe it's just me that's fascinated by this, but for the last 3 years in a row, Barrowease has ran in exactly the same 2 races at Galway, which I think is quite remarkable. And it runs in that mile race on Tuesday, and this Honora handicap, he's won twice, and he's back again. He's drawn and stalled 4. I thought he ran an absolute cracker the other night. I really did. He finished 5th to Riven Light and 6th, and travelled really well that day. Was beaten 4.5 lengths, but again, as I said already, the draw was drawn stall 11 that night. I think this is his race. Drawn in stall 4 this time. Billy Lee, who is just incredible. He's probably my second favourite jockey after Colin Keane. He takes the ride, and I think Faroese could win once again at Galway.
Lovely stuff. Frank, give us your thoughts on this race and any other bets that you like on the Sunday card at Galway.
Yeah, I was given a squeak to one. Now, the draw isn't great, but Canary Row won really well at Goran last time over 7. The ground's currently soft at Galway, and there's showers forecast for today and tomorrow and Sunday, so I think it'll be soft at best. He's gone up £8 for that Goran run. They had a £3 claimer on that day, and they have a £7 claimer up in Dylan Hogan. I think if he can get a half decent position from the break, I think he could run well. He'd probably be an each way price, probably be somewhere between 8 and 10 to 1, I'd imagine. In the first, the 2:15, Papal Motel ran really well in the handicap yesterday off America 61. His last hurdle run, he was second behind Whiskey Sour, who won the big race on Monday and is favourite for one of the big races today. He's running here in a handicap hurdle off 111, and I think he could be well treated. Even if you look at some of the form behind Nessun Dorma at Kilbeggan, he could be very well handicapped, and again could be a handy enough price. In the 2:45, the King of Braga won at Downpatrick of 112. He's gone up to 121, but he has one over fence of 123, so could be well handicapped. He's in as well against a horse called Static Jack, who has won at Galway last September. He's rated 126 over fences and returns to hurdles of 113. So the two of them look potentially well treated, return to hurdles. And in the 5 o'clock, a horse I put up a few weeks ago, Tipperary, called Jack the Wire. He got £11 winning that Tipperary race, but he was given a very tender ride and didn't want to show too much to the handicapper, I think, and I'd say he might be able to sneak in again.
Lovely stuff. Anything else from you, DJ, for this final day at Galway?
Oh yes, Jack the Wire. Jack the Wire is the one. Dennis Hogan stable continuing in good form, and it was a really good ride actually to get it to win, because it didn't warm up to his jumping early on at Tipperary and went out to quite a big price in running, but won by 2 3/4 lengths. You could probably put a 1 in front of that 2, basically bolted up. And £11, I think it could have easily got a stone. I think he's well handicapped, and I think he'll win that race. I agree with Frank.
Okay, excellent. Let's look at Chester. G-Rod, let's bring you in here. It's the 4:15, it's the Total Fitness Queensferry Stakes, a listed race over 6 furlongs. And we've got some of our old friends in here, haven't we?
Yeah, we do. I think Andrew Border, he must be absolutely nuts if he is not going to run Perfect Angel in this race. Now, Perfect Angel is entered to run at Goodwood Friday over 7 furlongs. This horse is in my tracker, and in my tracker, in the notes, it says loads and loads of speed, might even want to drop down to 5. But at Goodwood, it's run over 7, the first ever start over 7. Now, I know it stayed on quite well over 6 last time, but that was only really finally proving that she stayed 6. Now, a sharp 6 at Chester on soft ground looks absolutely perfect. And watch stall she got? Stall 1. That looks beautiful for Perfect Angel.
But do you suspect that they're going to turn up this chance by running at Goodwood today?
I suspect they're going to run at Goodwood and lose rather than run at Chester and win on Sunday. In which case, if Perfect Angel doesn't run, then they're all going to shift across one, which is going to put Kimberella effectively in stall 3. And, Kimberella's going to be extremely hard to catch. From there, absolutely bundles of early pace. I don't see either of those two on the inside leading around. It's a bit like a dog race. Fly out the traps and make all for Kimberella. But if Perfect Angel runs, I'll be all over it.
Okie-doke. Excellent. Have you had a look at this, chaps, Frank?
A couple interestingly. In the 2:35, a horse of Mark Johnson called Presbury Park.
Oh, no, don't steal it on me.
Smashed in the betting at Ascot. And I played up. He was really unruly and stuff at the beginning that day. He was back from about 8 or 9 to 1 into 3 to 1. And then when he was acting up before the race, he drifted out to 9 to 2 and basically blown his race before he ever started. But he went to Haydock the following week and absolutely hacked up, and I'd say he is very good. Of course, Mark Johnson's got a couple of decent 2-year-olds already in the likes of Card Sharp and Mildenberger, and I'd say this is another decent one. I would go against Graham in the listed race, I think. Judicial disappointed us a small bit at York in the listed race there, but he is 2 from 2 at Chester, and I'd say he can resume his progress here and probably get back on the winning trail.
Okay, DJ, you were going to say Prestbury Park, but we don't need to hear that now, do we? Anything else from you?
2 horses at Chester, Bruce. One was Judicial and the other was Prestbury Park.
Okay, fair enough. Graham, anything else from
Dave?
And there's a lot of really good agreeing today, so that's good.
It's some purpose, isn't it? Yeah.
G-Rod, anything at Chester? And if not, what about Market Raisin?
Yeah, I know. I can't say anything else stood out. Chester, Market Raisin has rather flown over my head.
Okay, fine. Well, let's go straight to Deauville then. It's the 2:45, the Prix Maurice de Geest, a Group 1 over 6.5 furlongs, and Caravaggio is attempting to redeem his reputation, or redeem himself after his July Cup disappointment, and is a very hot favourite with Paddy Power to do so, isn't he, Frank?
He is. He's 4-5. Signs of Blessing 7-1. Rosa Imperial 8-1. Bound for Nowhere, Brando, Magical Memory, Fast 10-1, and we're 16-1 bar.
Graham Rodway, what's going to happen here? Are you going to smash the favourite up, or are you going to take him on?
Yeah, what a tough call this is, because, I mean, Caravaggio should win, shouldn't he? But there's been horses, haven't there? I mean, Churchill put in a shocker, didn't he? Caravaggio put in a shocker. Is he going to come back to form? Would you take 4-5? I mean, I wouldn't.
I must admit, when I looked at the race, when I was having a look at this, doing some prep, I thought, what price is this going to be? Is he evens, or is that ridiculously short? And he's even shorter than that. So I think the answer to your question is probably no. But like I say, you're the expert.
The rest of them ain't not that good, are they? I mean, Magical Memory, Brando, Admiral, real useful sprinters, but they've not got the sexy profile of that Caravaggio. But he's not 4-5 chance for me. I'd rather be a layer.
What are you going to do then? Is it a race to savour? Or,
yeah,
or
I mean,
a race to neither savour nor bet on, it sounds like.
Yeah, if I was going to bet, I'd probably back Magical Memory, just because I think he likes soft ground. Charlie Hill was giving him a good write-up in the weekend of saying that the extra half furlong will suit. He always travels really well through his races.
You know what you're going to get with him, don't you?
He comes in good form. Each way, maybe, bet to nothing.
Okay.
I don't like that word, bet to nothing. I just don't
No,
think
that
there is
doesn't
such
really
a thing.
exist,
It's such
does
a
it?
load of nonsense.
I've had so many each ways bets to nothing, and every penny I put on turns to nothing. Frank, can you solve this one? Put it this way, with the 4-5, was there a heated debate about that, or did you all kind of think, yeah, it seems about right?
I wasn't involved in it, to be honest. The first I saw of the prices was about 20 minutes before this podcast, and to be honest, I was surprised Signs of Blessing was as big as he was. I know he was disappointing at Ascot over 5, but I remember reading a week later the trainer was giving out mad about how they were treated at Ascot and how they wouldn't come back if they were treated like that again. I can't remember exactly what was wrong.
Oh yeah, was it to do with water? Or?
It was something to do with water. The horse wasn't allowed to have water, and he felt he was dehydrated running the race, and that cost him. But if you go back, he won this race last year. He hammered Profitable in the run before Ascot, and at 7-1, I think he could do a lot. There'd be a lot worse 7-1 shots running over this weekend, and I would probably chance him each way. Look, Caravaggio at his best would probably win, but he was disappointing in Newmarket to my mind, and he doesn't look as bomb-proof as he used to be. So 7-1 is fair.
One more question for you, Frank. If they hadn't gone to Newmarket with Caravaggio and he'd come here, with the Commonwealth Cup win as his latest piece of form, what price is he here?
I reckon he'd probably be 1-2.
Yeah. DJ, what's your view on the Prix Maurice de Geest?
I have a theory on Caravaggio. I don't think he likes rattling quick ground. I know he won the Commonwealth Cup, but if you go back through his form, like the Coventry was arguably almost his most impressive display because he was on the wrong side, and he beat Maymas that day quite convincingly. That was on soft ground. The time before at listed level at the Curragh was on soft ground as well, and on his first start this year as a 3-year-old at Naas, there was yielding in the going description when he hammered Psychedelic Funk. So I actually think, while the layers will probably take on Caravaggio because of the ground, I actually think it's almost more of a positive. And I know that sounds stupid because he's a lovely, gorgeous mover, but I don't think the ground is going to be an inconvenience. I do think he'll probably win, but I do agree with you. He is a little bit shorter than I was expecting. Frank makes a valid case for Signs of Blessing, but I think it's boring, but I think Caravaggio will win.
All right then, jolly good. G-Rod, what are you going to do this weekend? Win loads of money, hopefully.
I hope so, yeah. Well, it's football season starting, isn't it? So that's always a positive. A great time of year, isn't it, when the football comes back.
Fantastic. Who's your team again, G-Wood?
I am a Liverpool fan, but I float around because obviously I don't live in Liverpool. I float around a lot of London grounds and get to a lot of different games. West Ham, Fulham.
Have you got a strong
like
anti-post fancy? Have you been through the old big kick-off and
I did,
sussed
yeah,
anything?
yeah. Fulham seem to be, the big pick. I'm a big fan of, Dan Charles. He does excellent job in the, tips for the Championship. So it gave me Leicester a couple of years ago when they won the Championship.
So you're going to be sitting there watching racing, watching football and doing your bit with the kids, yeah?
Yeah, and then Sunday, I think I'll need a lie down after this week. So hopefully a nice lie-in on Sunday and then we'll relax and, watch some more football.
Excellent. And DJ, 2 more days grafting away at Ballybrit, yeah?
yeah, I'll be pretty tired come Sunday. So it'll be interesting, but at least it's over for another year.
Are you going to be wearing that bastard waistcoat at all this weekend? I don't think it goes with that blue suit. I saw a video you did. It's like a kind of snooker player's waistcoat, isn't it?
I wore it yesterday for Ladies' Day.
Yeah.
I thought my mother told me I looked really well.
Excellent. Okay, no, I'm sure you did. And Frank, what are you going to be doing? You back down to Galway?
No, I was supposed to go back down on Sunday, but the horse isn't running, so I'm going to work tomorrow, and we're going to Cork back home on Sunday. Kilbrittain Festival is on, Bruce. It's always a good drinking session.
What is that? Is there a theme to it?
Kilbrittain is the village where I'm from in West Cork, and basically when I say it's a festival, it's just everyone goes down to the pub and drinks for the weekend, and they have a fancy dress, etc., and like 5-side soccer tournament.
What are you going to wear? What's your costume?
Well, I won't be down in time for that, unfortunately. That's Saturday night, so I'm working Saturday. So I will. They're playing a football semi-final on Sunday, so I'll go to that football match, and I will go down to the pub afterwards and catch up with people I haven't seen in a while.
That sounds great. Excellent. Well, listen, hope, chaps, you win plenty of money. Hope everyone watching and listening gets some good wisdom out of the guys there, and we will make a few quid. Join Maddie on Monday to look back on Galway and Goodwood and look ahead as the summer of racing continues.
Check out Paddy Power's new and exclusive Cash Card Plus, available to use online, at ATMs or even down the local. Paddy Power, you beauty!